Girl, I see you in the map bottom jeans. Chinchilla on your back, I wanna know your name. Girl, I'm too I can blow your brains. Put you in the chameleon no-fo range. Still sexy when you smoke that flame. Jerking like a chicken while you throw that thing. She got me hotter than the oven, the way that she talk. Switching the freaky, so I'm loving the way that she walk. You looking good, girl, you wanna be in pictures. Listen to me, I see your big, I'm sky high. Taking you home to the crib in the shot, and every time I see your thighs, I cry when I drive by. Watching you should bring a thrill, got the fellas on some Johnny Gill, steady screaming, my. Walking the cover with the thumbs, the thick in the dog. Kicking it on the couch at 106 and park. I can see your beauty on the big screen. I can see me freaking you with whipped cream. I can see you on stage at the awards with a dress better than Jennifer's and doing big things. Kick it with me like a moyo lie. You look good, girl, show you why. Dre coming through the prototype. I can make you a celebrity, go or not. Play something these pros are like. Drive whips, I know they like. Twister, you told her right. I can make you a celebrity overnight. Give you ice like Kobe, right? We sorta like Goldie, right? The way we mold them right. I can make you a celebrity overnight. Play something these pros are like. Drive whips, I know they like. Twister, you told her right. I can make you a celebrity overnight. Give you ice like Kobe, right? We sorta like Goldie, right? The way we mold them right. I can make you a celebrity overnight. You want fame, you can take that path. Candlelights when you take a bath. You got such a sensational ass. I'ma get you Jimmy Choo and Mark Jacob bags. I can cop her a 2003. Make her smile when she sees sprees. I can get you on CDs and DVDs. Take you to BB's and BCBG. I can get you in the places to be into the people to know what show you things to get into. I wanna be your lover and your confidant. Never take you from others. Don't ever let a brother pimp you. If you want the stars, you can reach a girl. Y'all take a look at her. She got such an astonishing body. I can see her in the Gucci and rob her body. And now she gon' put a hurt on them hard in the party. And you know you kill her in the clubby clothes. You just wanna be a pro. How you pose, taking photos. And I love you cause you freaking with the dope clothes. Drop it to the flow, look at cold when you roll slow. And I love it when I hit it from the back. And you get on top of me, I have a brother going oh. Girl, I love how you roll me right. I can make you a celebrity, go or not. Play something these pros are like. Drive whips, I know they like. Twister, you told her right. I can make you a celebrity, go or not. Give you ice like Kobe, right? We sorta like Goldie, right? The way we mold them, right? I can make you a celebrity, go or not. See, baby girl. You see how you make a brother break down. I just gotta ask you, what you need? What you need from me? Oh, you wanna be a star? Are you messing with the right one? I can take you there. I can make sure you got all the finest things. Let me be your manager. Come and girl, I can see you bored. Take you to the queen that I see you for. Take you shopping on streets and stores. I'ma get you to the MTV Awards. We about to do a show tonight. You look good, girl, show you right. Take you places I know you like. I can make you a celebrity overnight. Come and girl, you can hang if you're bored. We can do plenty things plus more. I'm about to have you changing the stores. I can even get you to the soul train before. We about to do a show tonight. You look good, girl, show you right. Take you places I know you like. I can make you a celebrity overnight.
Oh, my mic's on. Shit. I thought I shut it off. Yo, what's up, Tom Tom? I'm not really gonna do a lot tonight. I'm going to. This was. I got a tip that this was the best stream from 2020, so I was gonna watch this. It's like 19 minutes, and then I was gonna go over Alan Watts talking about Carl Jung, reading from Carl Jung's book, and then I was gonna take notes on that because there's some interesting shit that I want to remember. Oh, what's Landon talking about? Oh fuck! Why is it so loud?
That's not my opinion. It's not my opinion.
No, we're not doing Flat Earth. I was just on a panel. This panel. And I got kicked off. They were cool with having me on, and they liked what I had to say. And then all of a sudden, Bro Sanchez shows up and goes, "This guy is a porn bomber." And now they all hate me for no fucking reason. Because they're independent thinkers. That's why. These guys are some real individuals here. I mean, you wonder why blacks have a stereotype for being stupid? Just check out Huey P. Nuisance.
How the fuck I keep getting locked up?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Let me try to be quick. So earlier acknowledged a presence of Illuminati, and you talked about Masonic secrets.
They're treating him like he's a fucking master teacher, like a guru. He doesn't know shit. He doesn't read. What the fuck is wrong with people? I fucking read books. I know my shit. But, like, everyone thinks I'm a fucking idiot. And then, like, Bro Sanchez, like, the biggest fucking idiot on the planet. And people think, I'm not racist, Ben. How do you think I'm racist? I'm on a fucking panel with black people, dude. Why would I join the panel if I'm fucking racist? Racism is stupid. I don't even believe in racism. Yeah, I don't even believe in racism. Racism is some shit they made up, right? Because they want to blur the lines between right and wrong. So they created racism, which is extremely subjective and open to interpretation as to what the fuck racism actually is, right? And they just... anyone they don't want to debate or any idea that they want to censor, they'll just label it racist. It's just a way to censor shit. And it's a way to avoid having to justify why someone is wrong. I don't have to explain why someone is wrong. I just go, oh, racist label. So Ben probably just left. Are you there, Ben? You want to fucking defend yourself? You probably just left. I'm not fucking racist, my God. Dude, how am I racist? Because I called him a nigger? That's not racist. Just to... someone on the panel said nigger. A black guy on the panel said nigger. It's like, you two niggers talk this out. Is he racist? No. But I'm racist because I'm white, so I can't say nigger? Fuck that shit. If you can say nigger, I can say nigger. It doesn't mean I'm racist because I said nigger. Yeah, Bro Sanchez lies about me. He spreads fucking lies. That's not how it works, okay? Owen Benjamin. Okay, bye, nigger. Go have fun with your nigger friends in Africa, alright? And you like that KFC and that grape soda and the fucking collard greens? Hope you enjoy all that great food, you fucking nigger. What an idiot. If black people can say nigger and white people can't say nigger, that is fucking racist. Either everyone can say it or no one can say it. Otherwise, you're full of shit, you're a hypocrite, and you can kiss my fucking ass. Go be ignorant with your black friends. Fucking retard, dude. I'm so sick of people. Matter of fact, I'm gonna say it right now. I fucking don't like my viewers. I don't like people on YouTube. I don't like internet people. I don't like truthers. I don't like fucking alt-right. I don't like fucking anyone. Okay? Okay. Fucking people are so pathetic. Anyways. Yeah, Bro Sanchez. What a piece of shit, dude. Calls me a porn bomber and runs away like a coward. And then when I'm not there to defend myself, he's like, if I ever debated P. Mars, I would win. And he just talks all this shit. I can't even say anything in defense. Fuck these niggers. And of course, Huey P. All these fucking niggers want to dick ride him because he gets like 500 viewers. They're so fucking mentally retarded. These are this is mass-mindedness. They don't give a fuck about individuality. They just give a fuck about how many viewers you got, how many subs, how many followers, how popular you are. I'm gonna judge my opinion based on how popular you are. That's this fucking dumb fuck panel. Fucking idiots. We're gonna go over a book tonight. We're gonna talk about individuality. I'm gonna show you why these fucking people, you know, you can have A million people watching you, bro, Sanchez, but that's a million fucking zeros. It's a million fucking zeros because none of those people are individuals. Add up all those fucking zeros and you still get 0, nigga. Fuck's sake, get the fuck out of here. Anyways, this is just supposed to be funny. I don't know if it's funny. I think it is, so I'm going to watch this and see if it's funny. And I'm going to go into this book, Carl Jung, The Undiscovered Self. It's all about individuality. A brilliant and searching inquiry into the dilemma of the individual in today's society by the world's greatest living psychiatrist. And this was back like the 50s, dude. And it's gotten worse. Like, there was trouble with mass-mindedness in Carl Jung's day, and with technology, the mass-mindedness is increasing. Technology is destroying the individual. Alright, so we're going to go into that, but first, yeah, let's try to see if this is funny, I guess.
Yes. Can I talk to you for a minute? I want to talk to you. Sorry. I want to talk to you.
I don't want it.
I want to hear your story.
He's from Denmark.
I want to hear your story. What is your story?
Bjorn. He's not from Denmark, Bjorn. He's not from Denmark.
What are you doing?
He will fight you.
What are you doing?
He's leaving.
Yeah, but it was my content.
What's up, y'all?
How are you doing? How are you doing? Are you good?
You heard of Ice Poseidon before? Famous YouTubers, bro. What's good? Yeah, he's from Denmark too. So
yeah, we out. They're gonna be like, give me the fucking
Oh yeah! Hell yeah! Fuck yeah! Hell yeah! Niggas!
Oh,
Niggas!
God, no!
Niggas.
That's not funny, bro. You can't say that. You can't say that.
Nigga!
No, you got a dick hat, bro. You got a dick hat. Damn, bro, you got a dick hat.
Fucking dude! Fucking dude! Are you a racist? You don't like white people? You don't like white? Film him! Film him! He's a racist! You don't like white people? I'm gonna get him, man!
There you go. Dry it up, bro. Come on, you gotta dry it up. It's all wet. Nah.
Where? Where?
Oh, no. This guy got me trapped in his big hands. Hey, let's go to the house.
No, Bjorn.
Oh, my God.
Bjorn, no.
Someone's house.
Turn it at the wall.
Don't short.
Turn it at the wall. Turn it at the wall.
I don't give a shit about the American laws. You know why?
Because you're up here.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the American police.
Yeah, fuck the police.
You know why? Because the American police are all niggas. Nobody has tried to mess with me. And if they try to mess with me, it's a really big mistake on their part, if you know what I mean. Do you understand?
Of course, I speak English.
Okay, film him. Do you understand? If somebody try to fuck me up,
They cannot do him anything.
it will be a big mistake. Film him.
Are you like a god or something?
No, I'm not a god. I got good training.
Oh, you got training.
Where'd
you get that training
from? Eddie.
Eddie? Is he a god or something?
What are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? What? I pay money for that. You have to slap his ass. Go fight him. Fight him. Skål! I'm gay.
Skål. No, that's what they say. That's what they say in like Scandinavia.
Don't touch me, man. Don't touch me.
That's what they say in Scandinavia. Skål.
So you don't want to.
I don't want to shake your hand.
Bjorn, he doesn't want to hang out with you. He doesn't want to hang out.
Leave the fuck alone.
You want to fight me? He wants to fight me.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't want to fight you, Ron.
That's good content.
Mexican or
Bjorn,
It says, fuck Bjorn, racist ass. I hope someone slaps the shit out of him and send his gay ass back to Denmark. I can't wait to see you in Vegas, bitch. I don't think you're scared of that guy.
Fuck you. I will speed your ass up so much that you have to be in the hospital for 3 months.
That's my soup.
No.
That's my soup. Don't spill it.
Film.
Don't spill it.
Concentrate on the content, man.
I know. Don't spill it, Bjorn.
Get the fuck out of my face or I'll fucking kick your ass. You want me to kick your ass?
No.
Then shut the fuck up. Whoa, shut
Bjorn,
the fuck up.
Bjorn. I'm helping you.
Wait, how many viewers do we have?
1,500.
What?
Yeah.
What?
It's because Content King is
1,500?
1,500, Bjorn.
Oh my god, he has 1,500 viewers.
Can you take my drunk friend home? No.
Happy Monday. He's from Denmark. He's from Denmark.
He's from Denmark.
Open the door.
Denmark.
Bjorn.
Sorry.
Open the door.
Bjorn. She can't take you. Someone else. Where's he's the richest man from Denmark. What? Richest man in the...
Holy shit. Alright, well, I'm not gonna finish that video. Good God. That's content, homie. That'll get you the big YouTube bucks. You just get drunk and call everyone a fucking nigger. Holy shit. Alright, I'm just gonna go back to studying. Alright, so here we go.
Some stay friends for life, others...
The fucking audio is really bad on this. I wonder if there's a better... there's better audio. Is this how he uploaded, maybe? I wonder if this is on his website. How far do his archives go back?
Possibility of...
That's the same video? No, that's a different video. Oh, this is a different
comparison, and hence of self-knowledge would arise only if he could establish relations with quasi-human mammals inhabiting other stars.
This is the blurb. Mind, matter, and the masses. I may be crazy, but I ain't no fear. Oh, here's the... Okay, so here's the blurb of it. You know, like, the audio is pretty shitty, so maybe I should just go with the blurb. Actually, this will make it easier to take notes. And I'll just go read along with my plans here. Should I just read this shit? Maybe I'll just read this out loud. Because that fucking audio is really shitty. Tonight I'm going to read a little bit from Carl Jung's book called The Undiscovered Self. An interesting read. Carl Jung himself was up there with Freud. Personally, I think he was a little bit better than Freud. He was way better than Freud. Jung's father was the highest Mason in Switzerland, and Jung himself was brought up in Masonic traditions and Rosicrucian. What? That's not right. Rosicrucianism. Hey, what's up, Loken? How are you doing? Loken's awesome, Tom Tom. He's not like an asshole baller. I'm a fucking baller there. However, he was brought up in the mystic family, the mystic types, where his mother, he claimed, would be almost possessed in the evenings with something that came over her. He himself experienced phenomena, what people would sometimes call poltergeist type phenomena. He had teamed up with Freud, and the split came when Freud demanded him to make sex the driving motivation in people's lives, the sexual drive, libido. I've also had personal paranormal experiences. I've had poltergeist experiences. I have seen shadow people. I've seen weird lights and fly around my head and shit. But it's weird when you experience something like that, because it's a subjective truth that's true to you. You know what you experienced, and no one else will ever fucking believe you or be able Jung could not agree with this because, okay, with this, oh, this is like, so Jung could not agree with making the sexual drive the most important thing or whatever, because he knew there was something beyond the purely physical, bodily sexual drive. He knew by his own experiences, which he could not deny, that there was something paranormal above all of this. When I talk about these subjects, the paranormal, supernormal types of things, I'm not giving any applause to the New Age group who pay their money and hope to have experiences. Phenomena which is paranormal occurs to many individuals, mainly when they're growing up, pre-puberty, around the time of puberty. That's when poltergeist phenomena, which is really the person themselves doing it, occurs. The occasional shifting of something, a door slamming by itself, something moving on the mantelpiece. Okay, so there's lots of videos and there's lots of fake videos, but there's some pretty compelling videos of poltergeist activity. I think Carl Jung and Alan Watt, I guess, is agreeing that they believe it's your own subconscious is doing these things. So that would be pretty interesting. Like, a human being is a combination of the finite and the infinite. Like, you have an immortal soul, your mind, and your body. And we're connected to something that maybe we can do, like, crazy things that are miraculous, like walk on water. I don't know. It's possible. I wonder about stuff like that. But then there's also, yeah, he mentions the New Age. The New Age, maybe there's some truth to New Age stuff, but the New Age gurus take advantage of people. And New Age is usually, I would consider, bullshit, which so would Alan Watt. So it's weird. There's so much bullshit out there, but then the people bullshitting will have, like, kernels of truth to the stuff they bullshit about, it seems. Hey, what's up, Ed? Pics are not real. Truth big. Hey, Barbara. Hey, what's up, Zoom Truth? I'm just reading a little bit of this book, Carl Jung, The Undiscovered Self. It's really fascinating. He makes a lot of interesting points about the individual is superior to, he talks about the mass-minded man. So truther type people who seek truth, they're more individualistic. But on the path to becoming an individual, sometimes you join groups because we're, like, still social creatures, and we still kind of, like, a lot of people need that crutch, like, to join a church or to join some sort of group. It's like a stopping point on the way to becoming an individual, because you're trying to be an individual by joining a group and be like, okay, this is me, this is who I am, but you're still not, you're still a part of a group. You feel more comfortable doing it with other people. And a lot of these, like, truther people online, it's like they're starting to become individuals, but then they're not really ready. They still have their connections to, like, social animals and groups, so they, like, try and become individuals as a group together with, like, 9/11 Truth or Flat Earth or whatever. But they're still part of a group in the end, and like, ultimately, I think part of the journey is breaking away from the group. And now more than ever with social media, people are really tied into the numbers of viewers, for instance. But you gotta think about, like, don't feel bad if you don't have a lot of viewers, because the channels that have a lot of viewers, someone might have 1 million viewers, right? But that's 1 million basically mass-minded people who don't think, and they're not individuals. So the mass-minded people do not fucking matter. We need to concentrate on the individuals. The individual is the most important. And like, it doesn't matter if they have a fucking 1 million people watching them, because, like, they're all fucking mass-minded people. So it's like, think of them as zeros. If you add up 1 million zeros, it's still fucking zero. But like, if you have a small number of people watching you, but those people are like more individualistic, I think that's a way better audience to have, and it's more meaningful and impactful. So we need to like not worry about numbers and shit so much. Like, people are all concerned about numbers and everything and being popular. Yeah, zombies, exactly, Zoom Truth. We run into this problem when we're trying not to be zombies, because it's like who do you kind of have to separate yourself from the zombies, because they'll try and like make you a zombie. All right, let's see here. No, he's talking about, I guess Freud and Carl Jung got into an argument about the paranormal, and some paranormal stuff happened that freaked out Freud, and then they never met each other again. Apparently there was a big crash in the room, and they found a butcher knife was split down its blade by itself, and that freaked out Freud. And then Freud was trying to prove a point that there was more to the world than the material. So he said there'll be another resounding crash in a minute, and sure enough there was. That was pretty well the last time that he and Freud were together. Freud's part in the whole thing was to come forward with these really antiquated theories. They were in fact Boy Scout theories compared to what the ancients had written about regarding human nature. Freud's part in it was to try to demystify everything completely into a science, which would then be regulated, because down the road they knew they would have to use medicine and this new science of psychiatry to help dominate the people. Luckily, we've had other people like Carl Jung who opposed him and put out alternative writings, far more interesting. Although I wouldn't advise people to go along the same route as Carl Jung had taken, because he used himself as an experimental subject, and he would deprive himself of food and light and so on for weeks on end to try and get in touch with what initially was called the alter ego. One of the experiments eventually brought forth a female shape, which he called the anima, as opposed to the animus, the male projection of the psychic spirit. Then he found out that the main one behind the apparition, which appeared to him and which he believed was guiding him throughout his life, was called Philemon. And for those who know their ancient history, Philemon was a personification of the Fisher King. It was a sort of male figure with wings and colors of the kingfisher, the ancient symbol of the Fisher King in the mystery religions, going all the way back to Egypt and before. I wouldn't invite people to go through this. Plus, he pretty well drove himself insane for many years, in fact, with his experiments, and didn't regain his completeness until he was much older. So I think that's pretty interesting. I guess like he's another one of these figures who had a little spirit friend. If you read about Socrates, Socrates also had a little spirit that would guide him in life. He called the daemon. Yeah, there's a lot of like Napoleon was visited by a spirit. There's a lot of like historical figures that this is a real phenomenon. Crowley, a spirit appeared to Crowley. Apparently, if you do these things like deprive yourself of like food and water and light, you go into some altered state of consciousness and you can connect to these spiritual beings or whatever. I've never done it myself, but I've had experiences that would make me believe it's definitely a possibility. However, not to discount all of his work, far from it. He, by studying himself, came to some very rational conclusions about everyone. In particular, in this particular book, The Undiscovered Self, in chapter 4, the title is called The Individual's Understanding of Himself. This chapter begins. It is outstanding that man, the instigator, inventor, and vehicle of all these developments, the originator of all judgments and decisions, and the planner of the future, must make himself such a quantity negligible This... Did I read that word right? God damn it. Fucking reading, dude. What is this word? It's French. Okay.
Quantité.
Quantité. Amount. It means amount. Okay. Okay, that would... Okay. Read the sentence again. It is outstanding that man, the instigator, inventor, and vehicle of all these developments, the originator of all judgments and decisions, and the planner of the future, must make himself such an amount negligible. This contradict. So like we're man. He's saying so like man is like. We've created all this like amazing shit as human beings, and then we don't like think highly of ourselves. Like we don't value what humans are capable of in human life as much as we should potentially. This contradiction, the paradoxical evaluation of humanity by man himself, is in truth a matter for wonder, and one can only explain it as springing from an extraordinary uncertainty of judgment. In other words, man is an enigma to himself. This is understandable, seeing that he lacks the means of comparison necessary for self-knowledge. He knows how to distinguish himself from other animals in point of anatomy and physiology, but as a conscious, reflecting being, gifted with speech, he lacks all criteria for self-judgment. He is, on this planet, a unique phenomena, which he cannot compare with anything else. The possibility of comparison, and hence self-knowledge, would arise only if he could establish relations with his quasi-human mammals inhabiting other stars. So he's saying because we are so different from all the other animals and life on this planet that we can't know ourselves because we have nothing to compare against ourselves. And that only if we meet some aliens that are like humans that we could attain self-knowledge. And it's interesting he's talking about self-knowledge here, because I'm a Bruce Lee fanatic, and Bruce Lee talked about self-knowledge a lot, and I think self-knowledge is really important, and that's like what a truther should be going after, self-knowledge and trying to figure out who he himself is, and break through the molds of like programming and dogma and indoctrination and all these opinions that we just fucking accept without questioning. The way they set up the propaganda and stuff is like they make it so you think you come to these opinions and conclusions on your own, but it couldn't be further from the truth. You're adopting corporate opinions given to you through their propaganda. So what does he say here? Bruce Lee says, I am learning to understand rather than immediately judge or be judged. I cannot blindly follow the crowd and accept their approach. I will not allow myself to indulge in the usual manipulating game of role creation. Fortunately for me, my self-knowledge has transcended that, and I have come to understand that life is best to be lived and not to be conceptualized. I am happy because I am growing daily, and I am honestly not knowing where the limit lies. To be certain, every day there can be a revelation or a new discovery. I treasure the memory of the past misfortunes. It has added more to my bank of fortitude. That's a really good attitude to have about all the bad things that, because like no one's gonna have a perfect life. Like everyone's gonna go through shit no matter who you are. So the difference between people is like some people let that stuff change them and make them a horrible person, and some people let the bad things strengthen them and they become better people. But that's interesting. Bruce Lee also said all knowledge is ultimately self-knowledge. Read the chat a little bit. You drink distilled water, Zoom Truth? I get this water from the grocery store. It's BPA free, and it has no fluoride, no chlorine, and no something else, some other chemical I can't remember. It's pretty good. But yeah, that's people need to be drinking good water if they can. Distilled is about one. Most water purifiers won't get rid of the fluoride. Distillation doesn't entirely remove the fluoride, but I think it does a pretty good job. Like, virtually gets rid of like 99% of it. Fluoride is like really hard to get out of the fucking water, apparently. Alright, we'll keep going here. Bruce Lee was a woman. No! Bruce Lee was all man. Until then. Okay, so until man meets an alien, man must continue to resemble a hermit who knows that in respect of comparative anatomy, he has affinities with the anthropods. Meaning, anthropod means like something that's humanoid, like a ape or something, a chimpanzee. But to judge by appearances is extraordinarily different from his cousins in respect to his sex. Whoa. Thanks for the sub, Zoom Truth. Appreciate it. Okay, so... Oh yeah, we compare ourselves to like... Okay, so yeah, like physically we're similar to monkeys, but he says in terms of the psyche, we're totally different. That's true. Remember that shit where it was in the 90s? Remember the 90s? So like... They did, remember, that was really, what was the gorilla? Was it Lucy? There's some gorilla, Amy, I don't know, some gorilla supposedly learned sign language. Hey, Zoom Truth, this would be something you could do a show about. This would be a great flat earth topic. That whole, remember gorillas could use sign language and talk to humans? Completely bullshit. It was a propaganda. Not true at all. So... a lot of people think that's like valid science, or at the time everyone accepted that as valid science, and that just shows I believed it. I thought gorillas could fucking talk to people with sign language, like, that is to demean what it means to be a human. They're trying to put us on the same level as a fucking monkey. The elite think of us like we're fucking monkeys, dude. Yo, what's up, Nate Higgers? That looks like a troll obsessed with gossip over Larry and Jibby. I believed everything, Zoom Truth. Me too, Zoom. I was like a fucking... on the path to being one of these atheist skeptic pieces of shit. I was definitely on that path. Thank God. I'm not that stupid, I guess. Alright, so where are we at here? Our psyche is different than apes. It is just in his most important characteristic of his species that he cannot know himself, and therefore remains a mystery to himself. The differences of degree within his own species are of little significance compared with the possibilities of self-knowledge, which would be occasioned by an encounter with a creature of similar structure but different origin. That's fascinating. So Carl Jung is saying if we actually meet aliens, that we'll be able to get to know ourselves. That's what's keeping us from knowing ourselves, is we have nothing to compare ourselves to because we're so different from everything. That's fascinating, I think. Hello, Earther _______________. Yeah, I forgot to say hi to you. I try to say hi to everyone in the chat. My bad. Santos Bonacci decide. I hate Santos Bonacci. Me and Cathexis got in a huge fight. Cathexis kept linking me Santos Bonacci videos, and I'm like, this guy is a full of shit. What? He's obviously lying and trying to turn the truth into his like day job. Okay, so continuing reading. In the same way that our misconception of the solar system had to be freed from prejudice by Copernicus, the most strenuous efforts of a well-nigh revolutionary nature were needed to free psychology. First from the spell of mythological ideas, and then from the prejudice that the psyche is. On the one hand, a mere... Oh my god, what is that word? Epiphenomenon? Epiphenomenon. Epiphenomenon. That's like a Merlin... That's a good word for Merle. Epiphenomenon.
Epiphenomenon.
Epiphenomenon. A secondary effect or byproduct that arises from but does not cause, influence a process. What? An epiphenomenon is a secondary phenomena that occurs alongside or in parallel to a primary phenomena. The word has two senses, one that it connotates known causation and one that it connotates absence of causation or reservation of judgment about it. Holy fuck. What? Alright. I'm not going to be able to understand this sentence, clearly. I'm going to have to go over this. Okay, I'm going to have to say this again. Sorry, I'm trying to understand shit. I'm trying to do research here. In the same way that our misconception of the solar system had to be freed from prejudice by Copernicus, the most strenuous efforts of a well-nigh revolutionary nature were needed to free psychology, first from the spell of mythological ideas, and then from the prejudice that the psyche is, on the one hand, a mere epiphenomena of a biochemical process in the brain, or, on the other hand, a wholly unapproachable and... Jesus Christ. Carl Jung, why do you use such fucking big words, dude? You're making me feel retarded. You're making me feel stupid, dude. Why?
Recondite.
Recondite. Little known. Abstruse. That's an abstruse? Wow, there's so many words I don't know. Holy shit. So, little known matter. So the psyche is a phenomena related to the phenomena of the biochemical process in the brain, or on the other hand, a wholly unapproachable and little known matter. The connection with the brain does not in itself prove that the psyche is an epiphenomena, a secondary function causally dependent on biochemical process. Oh, he explains what epiphenomenon means. That was very nice of him. I didn't even have to go look it up. I should have just kept reading. Okay, so what is he saying here? He's talking about, like, basically this is the classic dilemma of what is the mind? Is the mind a biochemical process, or is it something unknown? I see. Oh, okay, so he's comparing how we believed we were in a geocentric universe, and it took Copernicus to move us forward past that prejudice to a heliocentric universe. And it's like in psychology where we believe the mind is a biochemical process of chemicals, and that we're gonna need someone like Carl Jung or whatever, someone to break free of that and prove that the mind is something not physical, I guess. Nevertheless, Jesus Christ, it took me forever to understand. It's simple. This is like some simple ass shit. Nevertheless, we know only too well how much the psychic function can be distributed by verifiable processes in the brain. And this, in fact, is so impressive that the subsidiary nature of the psyche seems an almost unavoidable inference. The phenomena of parapsychology, however, warns us to be careful, for they point to a revitalization of space and time through psychic factors. which cast doubt on our naive and over-hasty explanation of the parallels between the psyche and the physical, the psychic and the physical. For the sake of this explanation, people deny the findings of parapsychology outright, either for philosophical reasons or from intellectual laziness. I don't know anything about parapsychology. Okay, so he's saying how I should just make this fucking bigger. We know the psychic function can be disturbed by verifiable processes in the brain, and this, in fact, is so impressive that the subsidiary nature of the psyche seems an almost unavoidable inference. The subsidiary nature of the psyche. What does subsidiary mean? I should know what this means. I don't know what words mean. Less important. Oh, the nature of the psyche is not important. What's important is how the psychic function can be disturbed from verifiable process in the brain. The phenomena of parapsychology, however, warns us to be careful, for they point to a revitalization of space and time through psychic factors, which cast doubt on our naive and over-hasty explanation of the parallels between the psychic and the physical. For the sake of this explanation, people deny the findings of parapsychology outright, either for philosophical reasons or from intellectual laziness. This can be hardly considered a scientifically responsible attitude, even though it is a popular way out of quite extraordinary intellectual difficulty. To assess the psychic phenomena, we have to take an account of all other phenomena that comes with it, and accordingly we can no longer practice any psychology that ignores the existence of the unconscious or of parapsychology. Okay, we're gonna have to look up parapsychology. He's been using that word a lot. Paranormal means like what? Supernormal. So what is super psychology? The study of alleged psychic phenomena, extrasensory perception, telepathy, precognition, clairvoyance, telekinesis, psychometry, what's that? Object reading? Okay. He's talking about New Age shit. It's considered pseudoscience. Because of lack of replicable empirical evidence, parapsychology claims simply cannot be true unless the rest of science isn't. The structure of the physiology of the brain furnished no explanation of the psychic process. The psyche has a peculiar nature which cannot be reduced to anything else. Like physiology, it represents a relatively self-contained field of experience to which we must attribute a quite special importance, because it holds within itself one of the two indispensable conditions for existence, such as, namely, the phenomena of consciousness, Without consciousness, there would be, practically speaking, be no world. For the world exists as such only insofar as it is consciously reflected and consciously expressed by the psyche. Consciousness is a precondition of being. Interesting. That's the important part, really, the precondition of being. Thus, the psyche is endowed with the dignity of a cosmic principle, which philosophically and in fact gives it a position co-equal with the principle of physical being. The carrier of this consciousness is the individual who does not produce the psyche on his own volition, but is, on contrary, performed by it and nourished by the gradual awakening of consciousness during childhood. If the psyche must be granted on an overriding empirical importance, so also must the individual who is the only immediate manifestation of the psyche. So if we're obsessed with empiricism, then okay, so if we only approach the brain in an empirical matter, the psyche, I shouldn't say the brain, if we, because the psyche is more than the brain. The psyche is like who you are, everything about you. If the psyche must be granted an overriding empirical importance, so also must the individual who is the only immediate manifestation of the psyche. So if we only look at the empirical part of the psyche, then everything becomes about empiricism, because we are a manifestation of the psyche. And if the psyche can only be known through empirical research or whatever, observations, then everything we do is empirical. This fact must be expressingly emphasized for two reasons. First, the individual psyche, just because of its individuality, is an exception to the statistical rule and is therefore robbed of one of its main characteristics. When subjected to the leveling influence of statistical evaluation, I read that so fucked up. The fact must be expressly emphasized for two reasons. God, I can't read. This fact must be expressly emphasized for two reasons. Firstly, the individual psyche, just because of its individuality, is an exception to the statistical rule and is therefore robbed of one of its main characteristics when subjected to the leveling influence of statistical evaluation. Bam, got it. Okay, that's genius right there. Because our psyche is individualistic, you can't use statistics to gain information. So like, if you're gaining statistical data on 100 people and they're all 100 like individually different people, the data is not going to apply it, like it won't, the statistics won't give you anything meaningful, right? Because everyone is fucking different. Secondly, the churches grant its validity only insofar as it has acknowledged their dogmas. In other words, when it surrenders to a collective category. In both cases, the will to individuality is regarded as egotistic obstinance. Obstinance. I know what that means. Obstinance. Isn't that when you're like defiant? The quality or condition of being obstinate, stubborn. Yeah, okay, right. I knew what a word meant! Yay! Science devalues it as subjectivism, and the churches condemn it morally as hearsay and spiritual pride. Interesting. That's fucking genius. The churches grant your psyche validity only insofar as it acknowledges their dogmas. So if you agree with the group, then you're valid. But if you don't agree with the group, then it's like you're not an individual psyche. Or your individualness is invalid. You're being egotistical because you don't go with the group. Heresy. As to the later charge, it should not be forgotten that, unlike other religions, Christianity holds at its core a symbol which has for its content the individual way of life of a man, the Son of Man, and that it regards this individuation process as the incarnation of revelation of God Himself. As to the later charge, it should not be forgotten that, unlike other religions, Christianity holds at its core symbol, which has for its content the individual way of life of a man, the Son of Man, and that is even regards this individuation process as the incarnation and the revelation of God Himself. I'm not sure what the fuck that means. Hence, the development of the self acquires a significance whose full implications have hardly begun to be appreciated, because too much attention to externals blocks the way to immediate inner experience. Were not the autonomy of the individual the secret longing of many people, this hard-pressed phenomena would scarcely be able to survive the collective suppression either morally or spiritually. Dude, I don't fucking understand this fucking bit. All of these obstacles make it more difficult to arrive at a correct appreciation of the human psyche, but they account for very little besides one another remarkable fact that deserves mentioning. This is the common psychiatric experience that the devaluation of the psyche and other resistances to psychological enlightenment are based in large measure on fear, on panic fear, of the discoveries that might be made in the realm of the unconscious. These fears are found not only among persons who are frightened by the picture Freud painted of the unconscious, but they also troubled the originator of psychoanalysis himself, who confessed to me that it was necessary to make dogma of his sexual theory, because that was his whole sole bulwark of reason against a possible outburst of the black flood of occultism. Hey, what's up, trolls with trolls? I went on this black panel and I confronted Bro Sanchez and he called me a porn. These people, like, I was befriending these people and they were cool with me. And then Bro Sanchez just said I wasn't cool and I was a porn bomber, and now they all fucking hate me. Cool. Still water as above, so below. If your God is real, are all the other gods fake? What are you talking about? We're talking about... We're talking about the self. We're not talking about God. We're talking about how religion impacts people's psyche. I was building Trolls vs. Trolls. I was doing really good builds, man. Mad builds. I read books. I was talking about books I read. They were all blown away by the shit I had to say, and they thought I was cool. And then Bro Sanchez just goes, oh, that white nigga not cool. And then they all just start sucking Bro Sanchez off. I'll ban him right away. Oh, shout me out, Bro Sanchez, to your 500 viewers. Okay, he's talking about Freud's fear. In these words, Freud was expressing his conviction that the wait, should I address this God guy? If your God is real, are all other gods fake? Okay, so my God, I don't really believe in a particular religion. I have the belief that the universe was created by an intelligent design, a mind, have you, or whatever you. So I think I just think it's I can't really prove it, right? But I think it's just illogical. If consciousness is a function of us humans, then I would think that consciousness would be a function of the universe, right? Like, we come from the universe. And I know that's not like, there's no, I don't know, is that logically consistent, or is that a logical fallacy, or I don't know, but it seems to make sense to me that consciousness is part of the universe, or like it's like a thing that arises from the universe. So if consciousness comes from the universe, then I would think a consciousness was behind the creation of the universe. That's what I believe. And the great thing about believing that is, if that's true, then that means there's a reason and a purpose for shit. If there was no conscious, intelligent design to things, then that means shit's random and nothing matters. But if there's an intelligent design, then I can have faith in the universe and just trust my life is good and everything happens for a reason, and that there's hope that humanity won't end up being enslaved forever by technology. What's your oh, Stone? Dude, that Stone guy, what a fucking weirdo. He's so, oh my god. He must like miss high school. He's like, man, high school is the best. I peaked in high school. I'm gonna go relive high school by going to this flat earth conference at this hotel. It'll be just like fucking high school. Alright, going back to this shit. He's talking about Freud's fear. In these words, Freud was expressing his conviction that the unconscious still harbored many things that might lend themselves to occult interpretations, as in fact the case. These archaic vestiges, or archetypal forms grounded on the instincts and giving expression to them, have a numinous quality that sometimes arouses fear. What does numinous mean? Like numinous? God, I'm so stupid. Religious quality. Spiritual. Okay. So the archetypes have a spiritual quality that sometimes arouses fear. His presence? What are you talking about? I want to see what videos you guys are talking about. These ones, the international conference. Dude, I like that.
He just went on
the thumbnail. I like that thumbnail fucking name. He's like showing off all of his muscles. He's not even ripped. He's just like 0% body fat and skinny. I guess he's like got some muscle from holding that fucking Sledgehammer all day. So I guess, yeah, I guess he's technically ripped, because being ripped is just like having no body fat and your muscles pop out. But he doesn't have like huge muscles or anything, is what I'm saying. Yeah, fucking Team Skeptic, God, he looks like a fucking junkie. Jesus. Pretty sure Team Skeptic. Maybe he doesn't do hard drugs now, but he definitely looks like he did some fucking hard drugs. Skeletor versus Skeletor, yeah. Okay, so he's talking about the archetypes. They are what the fuck are these words? God damn.
Ineradicable.
Ineradicable. Oh, I just like read that. It looked funny. I know what that means. I just couldn't. What? Ineradicable. Okay, they are ineradicable, for they represent the ultimate foundations of the psyche itself. They cannot be grasped intellectually, and when one has destroyed one manifestation of them, they reappear in altered form. It is this fear of the unconscious psyche which not only impedes self-knowledge, but is the gravest obstacle to a wider understanding and knowledge of psychology. Often the fear is so great that one dares not admit it, even to oneself. Here's a question that every religious person should consider very seriously. He might get an illuminating answer. Where's the question? What's the question? I think it's interesting that he says people are afraid of their unconsciousness. I think that's true. They deny it, and they want to think that it doesn't exist, and that's where they put all the things they suppress about like who they are. Because like we all have parts of ourselves we don't like, right? So we put that in our subconscious and we pretend like it doesn't exist, and then it like manifests itself in our lives in toxic ways. Team Skeptic is a cokehead. Sean Hawkins admitted to taking... I got Sean Hawkins to admit to being a meth head. Because I kept calling him a meth head on Jose's. And he's like, I haven't smoked meth in 15 years. He's like, oh yeah, well you're permafied. Sorry, buddy. Your brain doesn't function correctly anymore. You must have done too much meth. I can see it, like, he twitches and shit. Like my fucking crackhead friend. Yeah. I can't believe he admitted to smoking crack. He admitted to smoking crack! And then he's like... He's still doing his YouTube. He's still calling Flat Earthers stupid. Okay. Alright, let's get back to reading. I picked that shit out. I picked that crackhead out. I knew he was a crackhead. A scientifically orientated psychology is bound to proceed abstractly. That is, it removes itself just sufficiently far from its object not to lose sight of it altogether. Yo, I talked shit to Tim Osmond today on Dell's panel. Did you guys see that? Should I show you guys that? You guys will probably get a kick out of that. Conspiracy cats, the contemptible preying on the weak. Where is it?
Coward, dude.
Okay, yeah. What do you like? You got like some sort of... wait. Here's my appearance on Dells. I talk shit to Tim Osmond.
Chop chop. Look at sunset. This is the same crap all the time for these people. All the fucking time.
Good work exposing the hypocrisy. He muted me! I was complimenting you, Dell. What the fuck? He just immediately muted me, probably. He's so like, he doesn't want to talk. He doesn't look like he wants to talk to me. I just,
Nobody heard you. We don't know what you said. You went blank.
I said you did a good job exposing Conspiracy Cat's hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
It blows my mind that these people, they think that you know, if they're right, the flat Earth doesn't do any harm. I don't understand how they think they're like some saints trying to save people.
Exactly.
Like what if you know, flat earthers are wrong or whatever, then they shouldn't even care. Like what is that gonna hurt thing?
That's what we say since day dot. If something's obviously objectively true, then what is it? I don't see them making videos upon videos about.
Hey Rig, Dell didn't look like he wanted to talk to me. He muted me right when I joined, and then he got this like look on his face like he was just annoyed as fuck.
Debunking people that believe in the Loch Ness Monster or aliens and fucking Alpha Centauri. I mean, it's nonsense.
Yeah. He showed this video of Conspiracy Cats. Oh my god, Conspiracy Cats. What a fucking loser, dude. He probably became a teacher because he likes children's. A lot of these teachers, they just like children, you know, sexually. This fucking guy, he's like, ex-flat earther comes clean, interview. So he interviews this ex-flat earther. And like he's talking about how like we're the good guys trying to stop the misinformation evil.
Like you've got to try and put this fire out, you know. I know there's always going to be a simmer, but I personally think flat Earth is on a nosedive down, and probably because of channels like this. And you know, I don't think many people could stay a flat earther their whole life. They'll probably, something will happen, or maybe watch something.
That's maybe I do mock individuals. I'll try not to. I try and border it on cheeky banter, but maybe that you know, makes people think, you know what, stuff you're wrong, and drives them deeper. You know, the whole kind of aim of Baldy Cats was to be a little bit more direct. You know, but then I suppose I can't do both and be seen as being direct. But yeah, no, it's excellent. Now, progress there.
Speaking, like obviously I'd like to chat to you still, try and do like a once a week.
I don't know if I can find it.
Put on us, you're a shield.
People would think that, you know, bumbly, I think, and can't really put my words together because lie about the shape of the earth, if you know what I mean, and I thought that myself. So it's sad now to be called a shill, and to think that I never believed the earth was flat, because it will always be a part of my life. You know, I'll always tell people, like, what really, you know, at one point I believed the earth was flat, you know, and I was very passionate about it. If you want to go back and look at my videos, at the minute I'm, you know, more bumbly, I think, and can't really put my words together because, you know, it's kind of like a new thing that we live on a globe. I can assure you that. No way. Like,
I can't find it. He was saying, like, first I thought the flat earthers were the good guys and the globers were bad, evil, and then now I see it's like totally I don't know. They're basically talking about like they romantically, like there's some fucking saints or heroes saving us from flat earth because, you know, I don't know, it's just stupid. Like, if they really want to, like, help people, maybe they should expose lies about the Miracle Mineral Supplement or something that's actually harmful, like a lie that's actually harmful. Maybe, I don't know, I can't think of anything, but Flat Earth is not harmful. If they want to be saints, I mean, there's a lot more noble things they could be doing. Like, there's people promoting snake oil and stuff that will, like, actually hurt people's health. And it's dangerous. There is dangerous misinformation, but I wouldn't say Flat Earth could be dangerous. And it just shows how insecure they are. Like, they can't tolerate someone being an independent thinker and having an opinion that's different than them. They just can't handle it.
Exactly. It's a display of their insecurities and a projection of their, you know, emotional retardation, as I was saying. So
yeah, I don't know who that guy is. Trolls or Trolls, some no-name Flat Earther. I don't like Conspiracy Cats. I don't think he's funny, and he's been an asshole to me. He just ignores me. He ghosts me. Fuck people that ignore me. Talking about you, Twitwit. Fucking dumb bitch.
You can carry on. I'm just going to keep highlighting it. You know?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, so there's someone else there.
Hello.
Oh, so Tim Osmond's on the panel. I didn't know it was Tim Osmond.
What's up, Dal? How you doing, buddy?
Oh, it's Timothy.
Oh, this fucking pathetic faggot. Yo, Tim, why are you such a coward? Like, why can't you just come out and tell people who you are? You fucking coward, dude. What do you like? You got like some sort of criminal history you don't want people to know about, like authentic intent? That's what I suspect. I just called him a pedophile. That's what I think.
So anyway, though,
he just totally ignores me. Dude, he can't handle me. Tim, you're a fucking coward. You're a fucking coward, Tim.
I just want to clear the air.
I'm just gonna ignore the truth.
It just ignores you, P-Mars. It just ignores the facts. Yeah. He's not interested in the facts. He's another one that's on a high horse. He thinks he's an intellectual superior or something.
He can't handle like independent thinkers. He has to have everyone has to agree with.
So
Tim.
Timmy, go. Let's hear your condescending.
Yeah. So Tim says, you know, typical, the same bullshit he always says, and I'm like, Tim. Then I think Dell like cut it off or whatever, you know, because like the conversation with Tim and Dell is the same fucking thing every fucking time, right? Tim's like a fucking insanity. Like he does everything on repeat obsessively, like the same thing every fucking day. Gets the same result. He doesn't change. So he's probably autistic. That's like a symptom of autism, actually. He's probably autistic. So Dell gets pissed at Tim and leaves, and then like Tim. What did I say to Tim? I don't know. I started talking more shit to Tim. Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. But the funny thing was, Tim like bragged about. He's like, I'm sitting in a $60,000 car that I just bought. You're in your shit room with your bike. Oh my god, hilarious, Tim. Tim, you're fucking hilarious. I'm wearing $1,000 on my body and my clothes. Sad. That's someone who doesn't value themselves, right? I have no value or success unless I have money or social status. I am my money and my social status. I have no fucking personality. Hi, I'm Tim Osmond. Anyways. Oh yeah, Tim. I was like, Tim, why don't you just do another experiment to prove the Earth is a sphere? I'm sure your next experiment will convince them this time. And Tim's like, I'm just trolling. I'm like, dude, you're not trolling. You're coming on to try and convince Dell the Earth is a sphere. Stop. You can't lie to me, Tim. You can lie to yourself. But like, I can see you. I see you. I can see you. What have you told me, Rig? Oh, I call everyone a pedo? That's just fucking YouTube. It's a meme. Yeah, I call people pedophiles a meme. So what? What of it? What would you rather me call them? I like to call people peasants and poor too. That's a good one. Or slaves. Ain't cool, it's old. Well, you know what, Rig? You're a fucking pedophile. How do you like that? Anything but pedo. I think calling people a pedo is funny, dude. It's like the meme. When people get mad at each other online, they just accuse each other of being pedophiles. It's just a meme. A scientifically oriented psychology's... Wait, where am I going here? Oh, right. That's too far. Alright, I'm gonna go back to reading. Fuck y'all at cancer. I gotta make myself smarter. He's talking about Freud's fear. Freud's fear of occult... Why was he afraid of occultism? Our state. Okay, so he's the archetypes are spiritual. People are afraid of their subconscious. That impedes self-knowledge. Okay, I was at the right part. All right, let's go. A scientifically oriented psychology is bound to proceed abstractly. That is, it removes itself just sufficiently far from its object not to lose sight of it altogether. That is why the findings of a laboratory psychology are, for all practical purposes, often so remarkably unenlightening and devoid of interest. The more the individual objects... I don't know, I think it's the italicized words. The more the individual objects... Dude, I'm too, my mind's not working. Yeah, I have seen that, Trolls vs. Trolls. You know that... This is not only racist, it's homophobic. Gay niggers from outer space. There's a movie called Gay Niggers from Outer Space. And there's black people in the movie.
Captain, we got something on the radar.
What is it?
So it's like... This is the type of comedy I grew up with in the 90s, right? And then now if I say nigger, it's not funny anymore. It means I'm a fucking evil Nazi. Like, how can the world change that fast in my short lifetime? What the fuck? And so are these gay niggers, they're racist because they made a... If you are an actor in a movie called Gay Niggers from Outer Space, does that mean you're an evil racist? He's a white supremacist bigot? Racism is so illogical. No, I never watched that full movie. Someone just told me about that movie Trolls vs. Trolls like a week ago. They were watching it. They invited me to watch it with them. It looks really shitty. I didn't want to watch it. Maybe it's funny, though. Sometimes shitty movies are fun. Okay, I'm going to try and read again. I don't think I can read anymore, though. The more the individual object dominates the field of vision, the more practical, detailed, and alive will be the knowledge derived from it. This means that if the objects of investigation, too, become more and more complicated, and the uncertainty of individual factors increases proportionally to their number, thus increasing the possibility of error. The objects of investigation, too, become more and more complicated, and the uncertainty of individual factors increases proportionally to their number, thus increasing the possibility of error. Understandably enough, academic psychology is scared of this risk and prefers to avoid complex impunity. It has full freedom in the choice of questions it will put to nature. Scientifically oriented psychology is bound to proceed abstractly, that is, it removes itself just sufficiently far from its object not to lose sight of it altogether. That is why the findings of laboratory psychology are for all practical purposes, often remarkably unenlightening, devoid of interest. I guess he's like talking shit about science here. He's saying that science cannot study the psyche because science is based on statistical data, and because the psyche is an individual thing, an individual object, if you try and study it through statistics, the individual factors increase proportionally to their number, thus increasing the possibility of error. So you get errors in your results because they're individual. Got it. I'm nearly 40. Hi, Shroomy. Yeah, I'm nearly 40. I'm gonna be 38 pretty soon. Medical psychology is very far from being in this more or less enviable position. Here the object puts the question and not the experimenter. The doctor is confronted with facts, which are not of his choosing and which he probably never would choose if he were a free agent. It is the sickness or the patient that puts the crucial questions. In other words, nature experiments with the doctor in expecting an answer from him. The uniqueness of the individual and of his situation stares the doctor in the face and demands an answer. His duty as a physician forces him to cope with a situation swarming with uncertainty factors. At first, he will apply principles based on general experience, but he will soon realize that principles of this kind do not adequately express the facts and fail to meet the nature of the case. The deeper his understanding penetrates, the more general principles lose their meaning. But these principles are the foundation of objective knowledge and the yardstick by which it is measured. With the growth of what both patient and doctor feel to be understanding, the situation becomes increasingly subjectivized. What was an advantage to begin with threatens to turn into a dangerous disadvantage. Subjectivation, in technical terms, transference and counter-transference, creates isolation from the environment, a social limitation which neither party wishes for, but which invariably sets in when understanding predominates and is no longer balanced by knowledge. What the fuck? I guess he's talking about medical psychology. The deeper his understanding penetrates, the more general principles lose their meaning. But these principles are the foundation of objective knowledge and the yardstick by which it is measured. I don't really understand this shit. I'm not smart enough. I don't get that part. Astro Aeronautics says, flat earthers are criminally responsible and should be held dangerous fraud/scam promotion, disenfranchising public educational board rulings for children. Astro, are you serious? Don't you think there's a benefit for people to think the earth is flat? I think it's a positive thing. Why do you think they're criminally responsible and should be held dangerous fraud scam promotion? If you think about all the frauds and scams that are going on in the world, flat earth is like totally insignificant. What about the international banking cartel? How about that scam or fraud? Don't you think we should maybe hold them criminally responsible before the flat earthers? I mean, could be wrong. Maybe flat earthers are more dangerous than the international banking cartel. sure you got some justification for your claim here, since you're a skeptic, right? I assume you're a skeptic. What a stupid thing to type. Yeah, but Barbara, those people would be dangerous whether they thought the Earth was flat or a sphere. Flat Earth is fucking harmless. I think Flat Earth is a good thing, because I think the more differences we have, the more opinions we have, the better. Doesn't matter if they're wrong. Like, there's not one person on Earth who is right about everything. So, like, why are we gonna be, like, so upset that someone's wrong about something? None of us are right. All of us believe things that are wrong and have opinions that are wrong. I don't think anyone is perfect, right? So what the fuck? Why you gotta be an asshole to flat earthers? You think you're better than them? You should see yourself in them, because they are you. That's human nature. You're a human. You don't want to... These people are afraid of their subconscious. This Astro Aeronautics guy is a coward, afraid of his subconscious. He doesn't want to see the truth about human nature. He doesn't want to believe that he could potentially be a flat earther, but we are all a flat earther on the inside. We're all a pedophile on the inside. It's a part of human nature. You can't deny these things. If humans are capable of it, that means we're all capable of it. We're all human, right? We're so judgmental and we're so quick to fucking point fingers at and stone people. It's like Jesus said, man, the person who's committed no sin, throw the first stone. And then no one throws a fucking stone, right? But we're in this like crazy call out culture, and we think we're just and moral, and we're gonna like put someone on the internet and call them a bad person and get an entire community to fucking hate people, and we'll internet gang stalk and harass people because we're justified because they're wrong about something on the internet. Yeah, human nature is basic. Sometimes can be complicated. It's not so easy to understand people because people can be irrational. If everyone was 100% logical and reasonable and rational, then you could probably understand them actually a lot better. All right. As understanding deepens, the further removed it becomes from knowledge. Interesting. An ideal understanding would ultimately result in each party's unthinkingly going along with the other's experience. A state of uncritical passivity coupled with the most complete subjectivity and lack of social responsibility. Understanding carried to such length is in any case impossible, for it would require the virtual identification of two different individuals. Sooner or later, the relationship reaches a point when one partner feels he is being forced to sacrifice his own individuality, so that it may be assimilated by that of the other. This inevitable consequence breaks the understanding, for understanding presupposes the integral preservation of the individuality of both partners. It is therefore advisable to carry understanding only to the point where the balance between understanding and knowledge is reached. For understanding at all costs is injurious to both partners. What is he saying here? Hugs? Alright, I'll give you a virtual hug, Barbara. You're pretty cool, Barbara. I've like said some mean shit to you, and you didn't take it too personally. I guess you're still nice to me. I don't like... I actually respect that a lot out of you. Unless you were just like so fucked up you don't remember all the mean shit I said. It wasn't like that mean. I think I just, you know, gave you crap for being fucked up, drunk or something. Or on pills. I don't know. I don't want to talk shit about you. Thank you for not being mad at me. I'm not a bad. It's not like when I talk shit. I'm just like having fun. I'm just having fun. I'm not really like I don't really take things personally and all that. Well, I apologize for being a jerk, but I'll probably be a jerk in the future again, so maybe I shouldn't apologize. Because I'm not really sorry. But, you know, I would say, like, I think you're cool or whatever. I don't know. I'm being a faggot right now. I have no ill will. I actually love everyone. I have no ill will to anyone. I like to talk a lot of shit though. I kind of like grew up on the internet playing video games, and I learned how to socialize by talking shit, because that's what you fucking did. I learned how, like, that's how I made friends. It was through like video games. So yeah, that's why I socialize like fucking stupid. Tim is psychoanalyzing me. Sweet. It's I was diagnosed with schizoid personality disorder. I don't know if I really have this. Like, I don't really believe in this. Psychiatry is so stupid. I don't really believe in this shit. Schizoid personality disorder is an uncommon condition in which people avoid social activities and consistently shy away from interaction with others. They also have a limited range of emotional expression. If you have schizoid personality disorder, you may be seen as a loner or dismissive of others, and you may lack the desire or skill to form close personal relationships. Because you don't tend to show emotion, you may appear as though you don't care about others or what's going on around you. The cause of schizoid personality disorder is unknown, blah, blah, blah. Prefer being alone, choose to do activities alone, don't want or enjoy close relationships, feel little if any desire for sexual relationships, feel like you can't experience pleasure, have difficulty expressing emotions or reacting appropriately to situations, may seem humorless, indifferent, or emotionally cold to others, may appear to lack motivation and goals, don't react to praise or critical remarks from others. So you can say good things or bad things about me, and like it's totally inconsequential to me. And I think other people are like that too. I guess that's why I like talk a lot of shit. But they're not like that usually. Trolls versus trolls. Here we go. No hard feelings, Tim. I was just like talking shit to you. Alright, I want to read this again because I didn't fucking understand it. As understanding deepens, the further removed it becomes from knowledge. An ideal understanding would ultimately result in each party's unthinking... Is there something I missed here? Like, this seems like out of fucking place. An ideal understanding... Is he talking about a relationship between two people? Ultimately results in each party's unthinkingly going along with the other's experience. A state of uncritical passivity coupled with the most complete subjectivity and lack of social responsibility. Understanding carried to such length is in any case impossible, for it require the virtual identification of two different individuals. Sooner or later, their relationship reaches a point where one partner feels he is being forced to sacrifice his own individuality so that he may be assimilated by that of the other. This is an inevitable consequence, breaks the understanding, for understanding presupposes the integral preservation of the individuality of both partners. I don't understand what the fuck he's saying here. God, I'm stupid. This problem arises whenever complex individual situations have been known and understood. It is the specific task of psychology to provide just this knowledge and understanding. It would also be the task of the confessor zealous in the cure of souls, were it not that his office inevitably obliged him to apply the yardstick of his denominational bias at the critical moment. As a result, the individual's right to exist as such is cut short by a collective prejudice and often curtailed in the most sensitive area. I can't understand any of this shit. It is specific task assigned to psychology to provide just in this knowledge. Maybe we'll just keep going. I don't know. Fuck it. The only time this does not happen is when the religious symbol, for instance, the model of life of Christ, is understood concretely and felt by the individual to be adequate. How far this is the case today, I would prefer to leave to the judgment of others. At all events, the doctor very often has to treat patients whom denominational limitations mean little or nothing. Denominational limitations mean little or nothing. His profession therefore compels him to have as few preconceptions as possible. Similarly, while respecting metaphysical, i.e. non-verifiable convictions and assertions, he will take or not to credit them with universal validity. I don't think the person wrote this correctly. This caution is called for because individuals' traits of personality ought not to be twisted out of shape by arbitrary interventions from outside. The doctor must leave this to environmental influences, to the person's own inner development, and in the wildest sense to fate with its wise or unwise decrees. Dude, what happened? Like, I was understanding the shit he was writing, and like now I'm like lost. Many people will perhaps find this heightened caution exaggerated. In view of the fact, however, that there is in any case such a multitude of reciprocal influences at work in the dialectical process between two individuals, even if this process is conducted with the most tactful reserve, the responsible... Oh, he's talking about a doctor working with a patient? Duh. So he's saying that, like... Oh, this is fat. Oh, now I get it. Even if this process is conducted with the most tactful reserve, the responsible doctor will refrain from adding unnecessarily to the collective factors to which his patients has already succumbed. Moreover, he knows very well that the preachings of even the worthiest precepts only provokes the patient into open hostility or a secret resistance, and thus needlessly endangers the aim of the treatment. Okay, now I understand what he's fucking talking about, because that's fucking interesting. I find that when people preach to me, okay, he says here, moreover, he knows very well that preaching or even the worthiest precepts only provokes the patient into open hostility or a secret resistance. That's so true of like me. When people preach to me, if they tell me something that I know is like good advice and I should take, I will just be pissed that someone is telling me what to do. I hate to be told what to do. So like if someone's telling me some shit and it's good and I know it's good, I will do the opposite. Like, you could easily control me with reverse psychology. Maybe I shouldn't let people know that. I hate being told what to do, but that's what he's kind of saying there. So he's saying that, like, the relationship between the patient and the doctor, like, the patient sacrifices his own individuality, so it's assimilated by the doctor's individuality. Which breaks understanding, for understanding presupposes. So, okay. So he's saying the doctor can only understand the patient if the patient has his individuality intact. But over the course of the relationship, the patient's individuality gets absorbed into the doctor's, and then they can't have an understanding anymore. So through, like, therapy, they destroy who the individual is. Is that what's going on? Are they using therapy and psychiatry to destroy individuals? They probably, like, read Carl Jung's shit and then, like, use the knowledge against us. But they probably know more than Carl Jung. They probably have a bunch of, like, occult fucking knowledge that's, like, way beyond this shit. I tried to join MGTOW, but they knew I was an incel. I am an incel. It's true. I don't know. I think it's probably better just not to have sex, honestly. Like, I don't have to worry about STDs or having a baby with... Well, like, I'd like to have a baby with a woman who is awesome, but... Yeah, those don't really exist, right? So it's probably best just not to have babies, I guess. Barbara, MGTOW is just male feminism, right? It's just male feminism. It's a male version of feminism. That's what MGTOW is. They mainly just complain about how when they get divorced, the woman gets everything in court. And then they have to pay alimony. They should actually get rid of alimony at this point, because it's not like... When they made alimony, it was because, like, women weren't working as much, but now, like, all the women work. So I don't think we should have alimony anymore. It really fucks the man over, because the economy's changed. Things have changed. Yeah, men are as... I mean, yeah, I think men and women are equal intellectually, but they like have different strengths. But I don't think, like, men are more intelligent than women, but I think men are probably better decision makers. Men are probably better at logic. Like, in general, there's always, like, exceptions, you know? It doesn't mean, like, there couldn't be a logical woman or a woman that makes good decisions. Where am I reading? Okay, many people. What's the meme with the meme crackhead? This is how I feel. Crackheads got cuddle buddies. I can't even get a text back. Dude, I could probably get laid if I was a crackhead, right? Because I could just like get all those crack whores. Crackhead's got a cuddle buddy, and I can't even get a text back. It's so true, dude. My fucking crackhead friend does better with women than I do. I kind of like being alone, though. The only time this does not happen is when the religious symbol, for instance, the model life of Christ, is understood concretely and felt by the individual to be adequate. How far this is the case today, I would prefer to leave to the judgment of others. At all events, the doctor very often has to treat patients whom denominational limitations mean little or nothing. His profession therefore compels him to have as few preconceptions as possible. Similarly, while respecting metaphysical, i.e. not verified, I read this, convictions and assertions he will take are not to credit them with universal validity. So, while respecting metaphysical convictions and assertions, he will take. The guy who wrote this fucked up. This caution is called for because individual traits of personality ought not to be twisted out of shape by arbitrary interventions from outside. The doctor must leave this to environmental influences, to the person's own inner development, and in the widest sense, to fate with its wise or unwise decrees. Many people will perhaps find this heightened caution exaggerated. In view of the fact, however, that there is in any case such a multitude of reciprocal influences at work in the dialectical process between two individuals, even if this process is conducted with the most tactful reserve, the responsible doctor will refrain from adding unnecessarily to the collective factors which is I've already read this shit. I'm so stupid. The psychic situation of the individual is so menaced nowadays by advertisement, propaganda, and other more or less well-meant advice and suggestions that for once in his life the patient might be offered a relationship that does not repeat the nauseating "you should," "you must," and similar confessions of impotence. Against the onslaught from outside, no less than against its repercussions in the psyche of the individual, the doctor sees himself obliged to play the role of counsel for the defense. Fear that anarchic instincts will thereby be let loose is a possibility that is greatly exaggerated, seeing that obvious safeguards exist within and without. Above all, there is the natural cowardice of most men to be reckoned with, not to mention morality, good taste, and last but not least, the penal code. This fear is nothing compared with the enormous effort it usually costs people to help first stirrings of individuality into consciousness, let alone put them into effect. And where these individual impulses have broken through too impetuously and unthinkingly, the doctor must protect them from the patient's own clumsy recourse to short-sightedness, ruthlessness, and cynicism. I'm a cynic. As the dialectical discussion proceeds, a point is reached where an evaluation of these individual impulses becomes necessary. By that time, the patient should have acquired enough certainty of judgment to enable him to act on his own insight and decision, and not from the mere wish to copy convention if he happens to agree with the collective opinion. Unless he stands firmly on his own feet, the so-called objective values profit him nothing, since they then only serve as a substitute for character, and so help to support his individuality. Naturally, society has an indisputable right to protect itself against errant subjectivisms, but insofar as a society itself is composed of de-individualized persons. Holy shit! Now that was cool. As the dialectical discussion proceeds, a point is reached where an evaluation of these individual impulses becomes necessary. By that time, so the goal, he's saying the goal should be of psychotherapy. Oh, he's saying you make the patient trust his own judgment so that he will act on his own insight and decision and not from the mere wish to copy other people, even if he happens to agree with the collective opinion. Unless he stands firmly on his own feet, the so-called objective values profit him nothing, since they then only serve as a substitute for character and so help to suppress his individuality. Holy shit! So if you're doing like self-help, all these people doing self-help, like self-help is huge. Dude, I should write a self-help book and like use Carl Jung's ideas, and I would be the best. This is genius. All the people doing self-help, it's not helping them because they're not coming to these opinions by their own insight and decision. They're just like reading from a book and copying what some successful person is telling them to do, and they're not being themselves. And that helps suppress their individuality, which makes their problems worse. The collective is completely at the mercy of ruthless individualists. That is your dictators and your power freaks. Let it band together into groups and organizations as much as it likes. It is just this banding together and the resultant extinction of the individual personality that makes it succumb so easily to a dictator. Huh. What he's telling you here, you think you can change nature by changing direction in your life. This is well understood by people at the top. That's why they give you leaders. Always down through history, all sides have a leader supplied because you cannot suppress nature. Those who are collectivist people to begin with simply change, metamorphosize into another direction, into another group. Maybe from a larger group to a smaller group, but always with the group. Nature reasserts itself one way or another. This is understood by the higher sciences. That's why you're supplied with leaders. That's fucking fascinating. Let it band together into groups and organizations. The group extincts. I love this quote. A million zeros joined together do not, unfortunately, add up to one. That's fucking genius. Ultimately, everything depends on the quality of the individual. But the fatality, short-sighted habits of our age is to think only in terms of large numbers and mass organizations, like viewers, subs, followers. The one would think that the world had seen more than enough of what a well-disciplined mob can do in the hands of a single madman. Unfortunately, this realization does not seem to have penetrated very far, and our blindness in this respect is extremely dangerous. People go on blithely organizing and believing in sovereign remedy of mass action without the least consciousness of the fact that the most powerful organizations can be maintained only by the greatest ruthlessness of their leaders and the cheapest of slogans. That's fucking gold. We see that all around us today, all over the planet. It's all to keep us safe, though. I think he's being sarcastic. I want to copy that one. I love quotes. Flat Earth so genius. Oh, what the hell is this? Put it here. Oh, this is a great video.
Ooh, nobody gives a shit.
Every time it gets me. God, that shit's genius. That's what I was reading through this whole thing for that part, pretty much. But I'm glad I'm reading this. I'm learning shit. How much do we got here? Jesus Christ. Maybe I should pick this up tomorrow. I think I'll do that. Pick this back up tomorrow. Fuck, I've been doing this for 2 hours. I didn't get through hardly anything. Alright. I'm gonna pick this up tomorrow. Good night.